Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm DontFightDucks, a Twitch streamer and content creator who specializes in Phasmophobia. Today I'm doing a beginner's guide covering all the basics of investigating, and whether you're thinking about playing the game or you've played a little bit already, hopefully this guide can help you get better. If you clicked on this video not really knowing what Phasmophobia is, it is a ghost hunting investigation game where basically we're using a collection of equipment to gather evidence that will eventually tell us what kind of ghost we're dealing with. That's the main objective of the game. But in this video I'm going to show you how to successfully complete investigations, how all the equipment works, where the hiding spots are, how to make extra money in investigations by doing objectives and taking pictures, and even some more advanced level stuff like how to escape the ghost, how to loop the ghost, and at the end I'm going to do a little bit about each of the cursed possessions. Now, the two things I'm not really covering in this video are going to be, one, how to quickly grind XP and money. That's not really my style of play. But on top of that, I think probably, honestly, playing Perfect Professionals is one of the fastest way to earn money in this game while still having fun. And the other thing that I'm not really going to be covering is all of the ghost secondary behavior and stuff like that. That's more like advanced level stuff for once you start getting into playing with less than 3 evidence, like Nightmare and Sanity, those difficulty levels. But I will be going over when each ghost hunts, because that is really important for survival. But I'm going to be taking you through 3 investigations. The first is going to be on amateur difficulty here with just the tier 1 starter items. The next is going to be on intermediate difficulty with a full truck of tier 1 items. And then the third is going to be on professional difficulty with the full truck of tier 2 items. But as I take you through the investigations, I'm going to be introducing more and more concepts with each one as they become relevant. Before we get into the investigations though, I do want to show you a little bit around the lobby. The first thing you're going to see right here is the corkboard. This is going to be where the player badges are. This is going to be where you can select the different difficulties. This is where you see what's in the truck. Over here on the left, we have the map selector screen. All these investigations that I'm going to be doing are in Tanglewood. That's the most common map played by beginner players, and probably the most common map played overall, if I'm being honest. Over on the right here, we have the shop screen, the loadout screen. Don't worry about any of this right now. We're going to get into that later. And then the one final thing that's kind of important is this table over here. This is going to be where you can check your daily tasks. Oh, cool. We have survive a starter items. That's great. These reset every day. You can use these to earn a little bit of extra money if you want to. And then there are the weekly tasks, which are bigger goals to work towards that can give you, upwards of $500 or even $5,000 if we get into the weekly challenge mode. I'll get into that later. And then we also have the optional challenges that you can do over here. Some for like playing maps a whole bunch of times. We have the Apocalypse Challenge, and then there's one for just getting all achievements in the game. Once you start to get a little more comfortable, you can look into these, but I would ignore them for now. But yeah, let's get into it. First round is going to be Tanglewood Amateur Starter Items. Now, these items right here, you will always have these items. No matter how much you die, no matter how much money you lose, you will always have one of each of all the starter items. These are our items that we're going to be using to gather evidence with, and you basically can't play the game without them, so that's why they're freebies. All right, ready up, start.
We're here. Take a look at the equipment and prepare accordingly before starting the investigation.
All right, I will do that. So yeah, this is our truck. This is where you start.
Looks like this is going to be a tough one.
Okay. Shh. I'm trying to talk. Okay, anyway, this is your truck. This is where you're going to start every investigation. We have a board over here that tells us what the ghost name is. It says who it responds to. This is relevant for the spirit box. If it says people who are alone, that means if you're playing in multiplayer, only one person can be in the ghost room asking spirit box questions. If it says responds to anyone, well, everybody can be in the room. But then it gives you 3 optional objectives down here. Now, keep in mind that it will not give you objectives that you haven't unlocked the equipment for yet. So here for me it says prevent a ghost from hunting with a crucifix. Well, I've already unlocked crucifixes. Despite the fact that they're not in my truck, it gave it to me anyway. So you won't have to worry about anything like this. But for now, I would say maybe ignore the objectives. There's a few easy ones like get EMF readings. That's pretty much a freebie. But for now, don't worry about this. We're just worrying about identifying the ghost and learning the equipment. Over here is the CCTV monitor. Once you set up a video camera, you're going to be able to see, the video feed on this monitor here. Over here we have a map of the house. You can click these arrows up and down to go between the first floor and the second floor, and it always shows you where the breaker is on the lower difficulties. So here we can see that the power breaker is in the garage. Keep in mind on amateur, the breaker starts on. In higher difficulties, you'll have to go turn it on at the beginning of the investigation. Right down here is the team sanity monitor. Sanity basically determines when the ghost hunts. Most hunt right at 50, some hunt a little higher, some hunt a little lower. We'll get into that later. But maintaining and managing your sanity is one of the most important things to learn in the beginning of the game. The TLDR of that is basically try to stay in the light. If you're in a dark room, your sanity is going to be passively draining. Now, there are other things that the ghost can do that can drain your sanity, but for now, just keep in mind, stay in the light to maintain your sanity. Over here we have the sound sensor board. Once you unlock sound sensors, if you put them in the house, you'll be able to see the name of the room that it's in, and you'll get little sound lines when stuff happens in there. And then finally we have the activity monitor. Whenever the ghost does any sort of interactions or hunts or events, you'll see a line here going up and down. Don't worry about this too much for now. There are things that you can read into the activity line, but that's not really important at the moment. Oh, and one more thing. This is really important on lower difficulties. This right here is called the setup timer. On amateur difficulty, you get 5 minutes of setup time. What this timer does is, as long as there's time on it, you lose sanity slower if you're in the dark, and it outright prevents the ghost from hunting. So as long as there's time on this timer, if you meet conditions under which the ghost can hunt, i.e. maybe you drop down to the sanity level that allows them to hunt, or you have a ghost that has an ability that lets it hunt regardless of sanity, like the demon. The demon has an ability that just lets it hunt whenever it wants to. This timer will stop all of that. Keep in mind, though, if you do mess with a cursed possession, which we'll get into the cursed possessions later, it will drop this timer to 0. So be careful with that. But this timer starts ticking down from the moment you open the front door of the house. So, normally I would like to start with a camera, but we don't have that unlocked yet. So I'm going to grab a flashlight. I'm going to grab the EMF meter. Remember, you have to turn this thing on to make it work. You know it's on if their lights are on. And then I'm going to grab a thermometer. The EMF meter and the thermometer are probably the two best items to find the ghost room with, because your ghost, it picks a favorite room at the beginning of each investigation, and that's the room where it's going to spend the majority of its time. Now, it can roam out of that room, it can go to other places in the house, but one of the first things we're going to want to do once we get inside is we're going to want to find the ghost's favorite room, because that's where we're going to do all of our investigating. And then finally, grab your key right here, open the gate, get ready to go. So let's get our EMF meter on. Oh, we got foggy weather. The weather does determine the ambient temperature of the map if the power's off. So if you have snowy weather, you're going to be seeing cold breath everywhere. Because right now the temperature's not too bad. Looks like we're hovering around maybe like 15 degrees Celsius. But if the temperatures ever do drop below 5 degrees Celsius, that's when you're going to start seeing cold breath. Under normal circumstances, that's a great way to know that you're in the ghost room. But if it's snowing, you're going to see cold breath everywhere. All right, so let's get the door unlocked. And like I said, you want to get the lights on. Keep in mind, if you turn on too many lights, I think the maximum is 9 for a small map. If you turn on more than 9 lights, the breaker will blow, and you will have to go find it and turn the lights back on again. Oh, I just heard a plate get thrown. All right, so this is usually how you find the ghost room. You hear something, you notice something on the floor, you walk over, you use your EMF meter. Now, the EMF meter is reading 3 right now. Any item that the ghost throws is going to be an EMF level 3. If you ever see it go up to 4, that's an area where the ghost has evented. Events are basically manifestations that the ghost used to try to scare you and drain your sanity a little bit. EMF 2 is any other environmental interaction, like for example, if the ghost turned this light switch on or off or touched this door over here, that would be an EMF 2. And then EMF 5, that is the evidence that you would collect. If you ever see it go into the red there, oh, hello, threw this plate again. Yeah, another EMF 3 because he threw it. Or she? What's our ghost name? Marie Dexter. Okay, another EMF 3 because she threw it. But yeah, if you ever see the needle go up into the red there, or the 5, that's EMF 5, mark it in your journal. But for now, looks like the dining room might be our ghost room. I'm going to pull out my thermometer. A good way to read this thing is to hold your back to the light. So interestingly, I'm standing in the dining room, and it doesn't look like the temperature is going down, even though our ghost is interacting in here. The ghost could be in a nearby room, like maybe the kitchen. So yeah, usually that's how I find the ghost room. I look or listen for interaction, I look for stuff out of place, and then I start checking around with the thermometer to see where a cold room is near where the ghost is interacting. All right, the temperature is starting to drop here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to get that glare off the thermometer. But yeah, the mercury is steadily dropping in here. So that means the kitchen is probably going to be our ghost room. So I'm going to throw my thermometer down. We can throw that on the floor and it'll continue to drop, and we can check it later to see if we have freezing. I'm going to go ahead and throw my EMF meter over here, and we're going to go out to the truck for more equipment. Now, another thing that's important to keep in mind, no matter what difficulty level you're on, is there's going to be a random bone on this map. I haven't looked for it yet because we found the ghost room so quickly, but normally you'll come across it when you're looking for the ghost room, wandering around the house looking for activity. But I'm going to grab the video camera, the notebook, and let's go with the ultraviolet. The notebook is a piece of equipment that you just put on the floor and wait for the ghost to interact with it. You don't really need to do anything with it. So you just crouch down, you hold your secondary use key, and you can see that circle moving around up there. If the ghost is anywhere within this circle, it can interact with this notebook. The ultraviolet, this is for finding ultraviolet fingerprints and handprints and stuff like that. If the ghost ever touches a door, touches a light switch, sometimes you can hear them thumping windows. Oh, the ghost touched a door right now. Perfect. Let me throw this stuff down, grab my EMF meter, and figure out which door it touched. Is it the basement or... I think it's this one right here. So I'm going to pull my ultraviolet flashlight out, and I don't see any fingerprints. I'm going to go ahead and check the doors around here just in case I got the wrong door with the EMF meter. But okay. Normally, if you don't see ultraviolet fingerprints after a ghost touches a door, it's generally safe to assume that you're not going to get ultraviolet, because there's only one ghost that has ultraviolet as evidence that has a chance to not leave ultraviolet behind when it interacts with anything. That's the Obake. So normally, if I haven't ruled the Obake out yet, I'll keep checking. You know, if I hear a door get touched again, I'll keep checking until I get enough evidence to know that I'm not dealing with an Obake. Okay, but back to our investigation. We have the notebook. I'm just going to put this down on the floor over here. I'm going to check our thermometer. Okay, it's dropped down to about 5, but no freezing yet. And then the video camera here, this is what you use to look for ghost orbs. You turn on the night vision, and oh, there's one right there. They're kind of tricky to spot sometimes because they fade in and out. But the ghost orbs will always be present in the ghost room. Yeah, it's kind of like clipping through the refrigerator right now, but you can see the orb right there. So now that we've seen that, we can mark ghost orbs in our journal. Okay, Obake is still an option, so I'm going to want to keep looking for ultraviolet. But yeah, looking for orbs is one of those times that you are going to want to turn the lights off because they're always visible on the camera, but it's just a lot easier to see them if you turn the light off. Another thing about the camera too is if you use your secondary use key, you can set the camera up like this. You know, you can set it on any flat surface, and then if you return to the truck, you'll be able to look through that camera on the CCTV screen. But we're going to go out for more equipment. I think all we have left is the dots projector and the spirit box. Also, we're going to check our sanity. That's another tip too. Every time you get to the truck, or even if you've been in the house for a little while, go check your sanity. But it does look like our timer hit 0 now, so if we do have a, you know, if our sanity does drop low enough for the ghost to hunt, it could hunt. But I did say that I was going to get into the sanity hunt levels of each ghost. Most of them hunt at 50. I'm going to mark out all the ones that hunt at 50, and then I'll get into the other ones. So the Spirit hunts at 50%, the Wraith starts hunting at 50%, the Phantom starts hunting at 50%, Poltergeist start hunting at 50%. Banshees are interesting. If you're in multiplayer, they pick one person to be their target, and then they focus all their, you know, activity and events and, you know, hunting on that person. They actually hunt based on their target's individual sanity rather than the average sanity of the group. But otherwise, they do hunt at 50%. So I'm going to mark them off. Jin hunt at 50%, Revenant are 50, Yore is 50, Oni is 50. Yokai normally hunts at 50, but it has a special thing, so we're going to get into that later. Hantu's 50, Goryo's 50, Myling is 50, Twins are 50. Raiju, once again, has a default of 50, but there's something that allows it to hunt higher. Obake's 50, Moroi is 50, and yeah, I think that's all the 50% hunters. So the mare's an interesting one. It will hunt at 60% if it's in a room with the light switch turned off. Otherwise, if it's a room with a light switch turned on, it hunts at 40%. The Shade doesn't start hunting until 35%. It's not too bad of one to deal with. The Demon, on the other hand, it normally starts hunting at 70%, but like I said earlier, it has that ability that lets it start hunting anytime that it wants. It's pretty scary. The Yokai normally hunts at 50, but if you are talking around it over voice chat, it has the ability to hunt at 80%. The Onryo hunts at 60%, but it also has the ability to hunt whenever it wants if it manages to blow out 3 candle or lighter flames. The Raiju normally hunts at 50, but it can hunt at 65% if it's around any sort of active handheld electronic equipment. So if you have a flashlight or a dots projector turned on or anything else on the floor, that's when the Raiju can hunt at 65%. The Diogen doesn't start hunting until 40%, but it always knows where you are. So on one hand, it hunts lower, but if it catches you unaware and you're not ready and it corners you, you're in trouble. But otherwise, as long as you have somewhere to walk away from the Diogen, you're safe. And the Mimic, well, we'll get to the Mimic after the Thea. The Thea is also another really interesting one. It actually has like a sliding variable scale of when it hunts. Because this is a ghost that when the investigation starts, it's like really young. It's called unaged. And then the more time you spend in the ghost room with it, or even in the same room at all, the Thea gets older over time, and then its sanity hunt level gets lower and lower and lower and lower until eventually it can't hunt until you get down to 15%. But the Mimic, the Mimic I feel like is kind of the bugbear of new players. It can basically take on the attributes of every other ghost in the game. It picks one of them at a time to mimic, and while it's mimicking that ghost, it can do anything that ghost can. It hunts like them, it behaves like them, it has the abilities of that ghost. The only thing it doesn't copy about them is the evidence. So basically, if you have a mimic, you never know when this thing is going to start hunting. But, okay, so that's that. Sorry for that interruption. Now we're going in with the Dots Projector and the Spirit Box. The Dots Projector casts this, it's like a multi-laser pointer. It casts this big field of green dots around a room. And if you have a ghost with dots evidence, you can see their silhouette walking through that dots field sometimes. So for the tier 1, ideally you'd like to have 2 of these things, but if you're just starting out, you only have 1. So I just try to place it so it's kind of covering as much of the room area as possible. Maybe over on the table would be better. I already got my video camera over here. Okay, maybe right here. Yeah, seems like I can only get this side or that side, so I'm gonna go with this side over here. Okay, so we have our dots projector set up, and then we have our spirit box. Before I do that, let me check our thermometer again. All right, look at that. We have freezing temperatures. If I can get in the light here. Our mercury has dropped down below 0 degrees, so we can mark, we had orbs, we're going to mark off freezing temperatures. So that means we're dealing with a Revenant, a Yore, a Hantu, and an Onryo. Remember, these 3 here hunt at 50. The Onryo, on the other hand, hunts at 60. So we need to be careful if our sanity starts getting down to 60. But, and at this point, too, you can kind of figure out which evidence you need to look for, because you can actually cross off evidence. So if I check EMF and all these ghosts go away, well, that means none of these remaining ghosts have EMF 5, so we're going to cross that off. Dots Projector would be a Yore, so we're going to leave that one. Ultraviolet would be a Hantu. We already looked for Hantu, and also remember, I said if you get rid of Obake and you didn't see Ultraviolet, you can mark off Ultraviolet. So we know it's not a Hantu because we checked for Ultraviolet and we don't see any. Ghost writing is going to be a Revenant, and then Spirit Box is going to be an Onryo. Well, the ghost hasn't written yet. You can always tell if the ghost has written or not if the pencil is still there. Because it's kind of hard to tell with the Tier 1 notebook. Like, if you look really closely, you can kind of see, like, faint kind of scribbles. Like, that's not ghost writing. If you're unsure, look and see if the pencil's there. Because the ghost will write with the pencil and then throw it somewhere. And also, too, if you're in 3 evidence and you ever see the ghost throw your book, you can just mark ghost writing right off. Because that means your ghost isn't going to write for you. Just make sure it didn't write in it first. You know, if you see the ghost throw the book, check for writing. Nope, pencil's still there. Okay, no ghost writing. But where's my Spirit Box? Spirit Box is probably one of the more interesting pieces of equipment to gather evidence with because it's so proactive. You know, I like using this one. But in order to use the Spirit Box, the ghost has to be in the dark. I'm sorry, did I just hear the power box? Oh, interesting. Our ghost just flipped the lid of the power box. So either that means our ghost may have changed rooms to the garage. Oh no, I take it back. The ghost can't change rooms on amateur difficulty, so that means it just wandered into the garage. Alright, and we heard a door get touched somewhere. Man, this ghost is wandering all over the place. Oh, now it's over here in the hallway? Yeah, touch this closet door over here. So here's what I was talking about with the, oh, EMF 3. Okay, it's probably reading this picture that got thrown here. But yeah, if the ghost ever, like, touches the doors or the lid of the power box or light switches or anything like that, that's going to be your EMF 2s. Oh, we got another door touch. Okay, so yeah, there's an EMF 2 reading right there. Okay, but I don't even need to look for EMF anymore because we know that our ghost doesn't have EMF 5. So, anyway, back to the Spirit Box. The ghost has to be in a room with the lights off for you to get Spirit Box. So I'm just going to turn all these lights off around here just in case it's wandering. And you turn it on and you start asking questions like, are you here? So yes, you can see when I hold down my microphone button, the little white light appears. And then when I ask a question, where are you? Are you here? That red light turns on. What that red light means is that the Spirit Box heard me, but the ghost hasn't responded. If the ghost does respond to your Spirit Box question, that light that was red over on the right, it'll turn white and you'll hear a voice come out of the box. So let me try. Are you here? Are you near? Are you far? Are you young? Are you old? Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? Are you near? Do you like me? Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? Are you near? Do you like me? Where are you? Hang on, I just heard the ghost do something. Okay, it's in the kitchen again. Oops, I lost my Spirit Box. Are you here? Are you near? Where are you? Are you friendly? Do you like me? Okay, we're not getting a Spirit Box response. I was really hoping for that. Because then that means, oh, between Ghostwriting, Spirit Box, and Dots Projector, Dots is probably, you know, out of all the pieces of evidence, Dots is one of the hardest to get. Especially with the Tier 1 Dots Projector. So that does mean we might be dealing with a Yore. And, well, that sucks. But hey, you know what? That's good. That's good if we do have a Yore, because then I can show you what the Tier 1 Dots looks like. But in the meantime, while we are waiting for that ghost to potentially do Dots, actually, what happens if I put this over here? Can I get the whole kitchen? Oh, or maybe on the coffee maker? Kinda? It's not the best. It's not the best, but we do have a little bit of each side of the kitchen now. Yeah, you know what? This might work. This might work. Let me get back to the spirit. Oh, hello. Are you here? Are you near? Are you far? Are you young? Are you old? Are you friendly? Where are you? Do you like me? Are you here? Are you near? Where are you? Do you like me? Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? Oh, that's a ghost event. Ooh. So that right there is called a shadow form ghost event. Like I said earlier, ghost events are whenever the ghost manifests. It does something. Sometimes they just stand there. Sometimes they walk at you and make that hiss sound like we heard. Sometimes they'll even conjure a big ball of mist to fly through the air and hit you. But that was called a shadow. Like, they manifest in different forms. There's, like, full form, which is basically, like, you know, where you can see their skin and clothes and everything. There's a more spectral form, where they kind of look like translucent smoke. And then there's shadow form. Shadow form's kind of the stinkiest, because you cannot see a ghost in shadow form unless you're actually shining a light on it. Sometimes you can see the shadow cast by them, though. But the way that I knew it was a ghost event was because the ghost immediately, like, as soon as it started making sound, it started moving. If that ghost were hunting, it would have been making sound without moving for a bit. And I did see a little bit of the shadow coming at me. But the thing about ghost events, though, is that some of them do drain your sanity. That one was a fake hunt because she walked into me and hissed. And that dropped me by about 10% sanity. Let's see, what do we need to do here? Yeah, I can't do any of these objectives. So, one thing that you can do if you are looking for dots is that you can actually set up a video camera and watch your dots field. It does work better if you get the lights off. But that's a good way to look for dots when you're a newer player and you're maybe a little more uncomfortable about hanging out in the house. Is just set up a video camera and watch the dots projector that way. You can just do it from the safety of the truck without losing any sanity. So I do have my camera over here aimed at the kitchen. I don't know, maybe I should. Oh, nope, that was my own breath. One thing that you do have to be careful of is your breath does show up in the dots projector. So I've seen a lot of newer players mistake that as dots. Okay. So we got this shining on the kitchen again. We still don't have any ghost writing. So I'm going to turn this light off, and we're going to go hang out in the truck and look for dots. But yeah, I confess, this is taking a little longer than I expected. But, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if it was a Yore. Like I was saying, dots are really hard to get. But yeah, when you are at the computer here, you can flip back and forth between night vision and normal vision. You can just hang out in the truck and watch your dots. Watch your video camera. You can also look for orbs this way too, but I find it a lot easier to look for orbs by holding the camera in my hand. Oh, there's the dots right there. We do have a Yore. Ooh, and we have a ghost that's crawling. That is scary. So I'm going to go ahead and mark dots. I'm going to circle my ghost. We have our dots, our orbs are freezing. That leaves just the Yore, and that's our ghost. There is one other thing that I would like to do before I leave, because we have plenty of sanity right now. We have almost 80%. And the Yore doesn't start hunting until 50, so we have a lot of time to look around the house. Because like I was saying earlier, there's a bone that every time you load into an investigation, there is a bone that randomly spawns in. What kind of bone it is random, where it is random. Sometimes it's really easy to find. It'll just be sitting in a walkway. Other times you have to look and look and look for it because it's spawned in a weird position. Oh, we have the music box. Okay. This is one of the cursed possessions. We will get into those later, though. But just as a primer for them, they are a collection of items. Every time you load into a map, you always have one of them at random. They always spawn in the same place, so the music box will always be on this shelf in Tanglewood. If you get the tarot cards, they'll always be on that little table in the living room. But they are items that allow you to manipulate the game in interesting ways, either by getting information very easily, such as where the ghost is, where the bone is, or you can even, some of them you can even use to, hey, speaking of the bone, we have a jawbone right there. Some of them you can even use to force the ghost to do certain things. Like the music box right there, you can force the ghost to do an event, which makes it really easy to take a picture. A lot of them drain sanity, and all of them have the ability to make the ghost hunt, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, we found the bone. It's a jawbone. For now, we're just going to pick it up. But if you had a camera, you should take a picture of that. That picture's worth a lot of money. Oh, that's interesting. So, the Yore, its ghost ability is actually, it will close doors fully. So say that this door is fully open, it'll fully close a door, and it will drain your sanity in the process. It can do that outside of a ghost event or a hunt, and it's also the only ghost that can interact with the front door to close it outside of a ghost event or a hunt. Because ghost events and hunts will also slam doors, but the Yori can just do that. So that's really funny that it closed the front door on me. But if I hadn't gotten dots, that would have been a dead giveaway that we had a Yori right there. That's an example of a piece of secondary behavior or abilities that these ghosts have that once you start getting into less than 3 evidence, like Nightmare mode only gives you 2 evidence, Insanity mode only gives you 1 evidence. If you saw that front door get closed and you know that an event didn't happen and the ghost hadn't hunted, you would know, yeah, that's a Yori. But since we did have our evidence, yeah, we don't need to rely on that right now. Okay, so normally if I had a camera, this would be the time that I check all my pictures. I make sure they're good, but since we don't, we're not worried about that. We're just gonna make sure that our ghost is circled. Always make sure your ghost is circled before pushing the button, and we're gonna get back to the lobby and see how much money we made.
Welcome back.
All right. Oh, and we got some of our daily tasks done too. So since we didn't do the objectives, yeah, we don't get any money for that. Since we didn't have a camera, we don't get any pictures. But hey, look at that. We got an extra $25 just for picking the bone up. And we also got an extra $100 each for discovering the ghost type as a daily task and surviving with the starter items. Awesome. Normally, I would say surviving with the starter items isn't worth it because, look at that, we only made $425 on amateur without doing our objectives or taking any pictures. It's not really worth it to do this daily, but if you're just starting out and you only have the starter items, this daily task is great. I love it. Hey y'all, I'm taking a short break from the video to let y'all know that I am partnered with Madrinas. If you're not familiar with them, they are a beverage company that specializes in cold brew coffee, whole bean coffee, charged refreshers, that's what they call their line of energy drinks, and even boba tea. You can browse their shop using the link in the description, and if you see anything you like there, you can use my code DontFightDucks, that's all one word, no apostrophe. That'll save you 20% on your order and support the channel in the process. In particular, I'm a huge fan of the charged refreshers. I drink them every stream. I'm a big fan of the sour watermelon, the raspberry lemonade, the Georgia peach lemonade, and the, where's it at? It's always hiding from me, the cherry limeade. But I've also tried their cold brew, their boba, their whole bean. I love it all. So definitely give it a look if you're interested, and thank you again to Madrinas for partnering with my channel. All right, back to the video. So I did say on the next one that I would be playing on intermediate, and I'm going to be playing with a full truck of tier 1 items. Now I'm going to tell you what all these extra optional items over here do. But in order to do that, we're going to have to use the shop screen. As you level up, you're going to be unlocking items. As you unlock the tier 1 items, like these right here, those just automatically unlock. You do not need to buy those. But once you do get to the point where, say you unlock a tier 2 item, you do have to upgrade. I'm not going to do that because this is $10,000 and I don't want this. But once you do unlock that tier 2, you can freely switch between the tiers. It doesn't, like, there's no price difference between a tier 1 or a tier 2. As long as you own a crucifix, say, see that I own 2 crucifixes there, you can pick any tier of it that you want to put in the truck. But yeah, the shop screen, this is where you can look at the stats of your items, like our tier 1 dots projector. Yeah, it has a 5-meter range, spotlight's narrow, and it's placeable. It's also an electronic. You know, that's cool to look at if you want to know the difference between them. But for putting stuff in the truck, that's where you're going to use your loadout screen. Mine's a little bit messy here. I should have cleaned it up for this video, but I'm going to pick a fresh, brand new loadout here. Now, I understand this looks kind of scary. This looks kind of confusing when you first open it, but it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. For starters, you pick a loadout. You can actually name them too. We're going to call it Tutorial Loadout. And you click Enable. It's going to say, enabling this loadout will purchase any missing equipment and automatically add them to the truck. This will happen when you enter a room or return from a contract. Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to hit the Enable button. So now anything that I add over here, like this is what's in the truck, it'll appear on this screen over here. The color of the diamonds here matches the color of the person who put it in the truck. You can see my little red corner of the badge. But basically this column here, the tier column, this selects which tier of item you want to put in the truck. So if I click the tier 2 dots projector, you can see it gets the tier 2 symbol for the diamond right here. And then, so you can just go down, pick the tiers that you want, once you do unlock some extra tiers. But for now, we're doing tier 1, so we're going to leave it all in the first column here. And then over here, you select the amount that you want to put in the truck. Because we do get the starter equipment for free, there's only one extra pip that we can put in for the dots projector, one extra pip that we can put in for the EMF reader. We can have some extra flashlights if we want to. But I'm basically going to fill this up as much as we can. And if you have a lot of money and you don't really care about, kind of being frugal with the items that you put in, because keep in mind, all this extra stuff that you put in, if you die and you're the one who put it in the truck, you will lose these items. So if I die in this next one, I'm going to lose a dots projector, my extra EMF reader, my 3 extra flashlights, my extra ghost writing book. So in the beginning, do be careful about what you put in the truck. Don't put any more than you need. But yeah, I'm just going to click this button down here. This is like a add subtract all button if you don't want to go through and add everything individually. So I'm just going to add everything. We're going to have a full truck of everything. So we're back here. We can see our loadout. And we are going to Tanglewood, and then we're going to ready up and hit start. Okay, so on intermediate, the first thing you'll notice is that you have 2 minutes of setup timer instead of the other 5 of amateur. The other thing is that the power starts off, so you are going to have to look at the map, figure out where the power is, and then first thing you want to do is turn the power on, because you don't want to lose any more sanity than you need to getting the power on. But now look at this. We have a full truck of stuff. This may look a little overwhelming, but it's pretty simple. The extra items that we have now are photo cameras. Photo cameras you use to take pictures on the photo tab. Pictures are worth money. Each picture has like a star quality based on like how close you are and how centered the picture is. We have crucifixes. You can put down crucifixes on the ground, and if the ghost tries to hunt within range of those crucifixes, the crucifixes will stop it. You have sound sensors, which you can put on the floor. That's what this board is for up here. If the ghost does anything, throws anything, touches a door, you will be able to hear it from the truck. We have salt, which you can put on the ground. The ghost can step in the salt, unless it's a wraith. Wraiths will not step in salt. But if it steps in salt and it continues walking, you can actually use that to check for ultraviolet footprints, and that counts as ultraviolet evidence. It's really handy if the ghost is in an area where there's not really too much that it can touch that it can leave ultraviolet behind. On top of that, too, you can even take pictures of the stepped-in salt for more money with the camera. We have the parabolic microphone here, which you can use to hear sounds from a distance. The parabolic microphone is also used for one objective called Hear a Paranormal Sound with the Parabolic Microphone. Do we have that? No, we don't. But if you ever have that objective, you can just kind of hang back, aim this at the ghost room, and eventually you'll hear some creepy whispers coming through it. The motion sensors, you can put these on walls. I can't put them in the truck, but you can put these on walls, and they cast like a laser beam, and if the ghost walks through it, it will cause the motion sensor to light up, and if you're in the truck, you can even hear the motion sensors beeping up here on the map board. These are really handy for knowing where the ghost is moving around and where the ghost is. Candles are interesting. Sometimes you'll get an objective that says get the ghost to blow out a candle, or a firelight. Firelight's the technical term for this category of item. But candles are also great because if you're holding, you do need a igniter, which in tier 1 comes in the form of a box of matches. But if you're holding a candle and it's lit and you're in the dark, it slows your passive sanity drain. So these are really handy if you're on a bigger map and you need to like search around a lot for the power. This is the headgear here. The tier 1 headgear isn't that useful. It's like a mobile video camera. I don't generally mess with the tier 1 headgear. The tier 2 is pretty useful. It's a head-mounted flashlight, but you do have to be careful because these do count as electronics. I haven't gotten into it yet because we haven't talked about surviving hunts, but if the ghost is hunting and you do have a powered-on electronic in your hand or strapped to your head, the ghost is going to be able to detect that and know where you are. So be very careful with the headgear that the ghost doesn't grab you because you forgot to turn your video camera off. And then finally, we have Sanity medication. For the tier 1, it's called Insane Away. Once your sanity starts dropping, you can take this to refill your sanity bar. The amount of sanity that gets restored depends on the level of difficulty that you're playing. Now, unfortunately, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head, so I'm going to put them on the screen right now. The sanity restoration levels for amateur, intermediate, and professional. So now that you've looked at that, we can move on. Okay. So we're going to open this. We're going to look at our board. We're looking for Kim Walker this time. She responds to everyone. So that means if we're in multiplayer, more than one person can be in the room while you're doing Spirit Box. One thing to note, if you get up to professional difficulty or higher, it'll just say, we don't know, for who the ghost responds to. At that point, you're better off just, one person going in the room and trying it. But now that we have all of our, oh, hey, we have sunrise weather. Now that we have all of our equipment, we can do all these objectives. So I'm going to show you how to do a perfect investigation. A perfect investigation requires you to, 1, correctly identify the ghost and survive. 2, find and pick up the bone. 3, fill your journal out with all 3-star photos. It doesn't matter what's in the picture. It just has to be all 3-star photos. And then 4, you have to complete these 3 optional objectives right here. So this says, have a member of your team witness a ghost event, get your average sanity down to 25%, and repel the ghost with incense while it's chasing. Okay, so that means we're going to have to make the ghost hunt or let it hunt. For getting our sanity down, usually I like to use the cursed possessions for this, so hopefully we get a good one for that. Some are better than draining your sanity than others. And witnessing a ghost event, well, there are some cursed possessions like the music box, the monkey paw, the summoning circle, and the tarot deck that can make the ghost event. But otherwise, if you don't have one of those, you're just kind of on your own waiting for the ghost to do this. This is my least favorite event in the game. I hope they remove it someday. But we're going to start out with our flashlight. I'm going to grab an EMF meter. This is my preferred item to find the ghost because, remember that in first investigation, I heard a plate get thrown and I could go over there and check it to make sure, it was recently thrown. It's even more useful if you're like in one part of the house and you hear the ghost do something in another area. You can run over and find the EMF signal for what it did. But now that I have a camera, I'm going to be using a camera to start with, because if the ghost appears, I'm going to take a picture of it. If I find the bone, I'm going to want a camera to take a picture of it. If the ghost interacts with anything, I'm going to want a camera to take a picture of it. Once we have an idea of where the ghost is interacting, then I'm going to grab the thermometer. Some people like to start with the thermometer. I personally don't, because I feel that sometimes it does take a little too long for the ghost to drop the temperatures. So you end up just kind of methodically checking every room in the house. I don't really find that too fun. I like chasing down EMF signals. So once again, when we open the door, that timer is going to start. And a tip that I forgot to mention the first time around is if you are worried about that timer, you could take all your equipment and just bring it to the front door and then open the front door. It's a little tedious, but, you could do that. Okay. So on intermediate difficulty, the power's not on right away. Remember, we saw that our power was in the basement. So we're going to flip our light switch on. I like to flip a couple of lights on when I'm going into the house, so that way I don't have to run back and turn them on. Yeah, they have a basement. Okay, so another thing that I should tell you now that we're in intermediate is about the hiding spots. Each house has a series of hiding spots, and depending on your difficulty, you're going to have more or less of them. So sometimes they, if this hiding spot's available right here, this board will be right here. But if it's not, there's not going to be any plywood here. But if the ghost is hunting, if you hear it hunting, you can run and you can, turn off all your electronics and hang out back here until the hunt is over. The important thing, though, is that do not let the ghost see you run into a hiding spot. If it sees you go into that hiding spot, it's just going to walk over and grab you. But we'll get into that later. We'll get into our escapes later. Okay, so we're going to get some lights on while we look around. But yeah, this is the part where I'm just kind of walking around the house. I'm looking for anything out of place. I'm listening for interaction. And I'm also looking for that bone, because that bone's important if you want to try to get a perfect bonus. And remember, if you're not in a room, turn the lights off. Because one, you can only turn on so many lights before you blow the breaker. On a small map, it is 9. 9 is the maximum amount of lights you can have on. If you turn on a 10th, the breaker will blow and you'll have to go turn it back on. All right, this is a hiding spot right here. We have the lockers in the garage, so you would go in here, close the door. Just make sure, once again, your electronics are off. In fact, sometimes if the ghost starts hunting, I just throw my electronics so I don't have to worry about turning it off. Because they can only detect it if it's in your hand and on. And sometimes it's easier for me to hit the throw button than turn it off. But the other reason I turn the lights off is because, remember how the ghost was throwing items like it was throwing plates over here? Oh, that's a ghost event. Ooh! Now that was a shadow form ghost event. Remember I said before you can only see the ghost in shadow form if you're shining a light on it? Well, we shined a light on it and we saw her shadow. Oh boy, but hey, that's a ghost picture. Ghost pictures are one of the most valuable picture that you can take in the game. I don't remember the exact value. I want to say it's $15, but if I am wrong, I'll put the correction up on screen. But I also just heard the ghost touch a door somewhere. So I'm gonna run over and see if I can't figure out which door it touched. Ooh, one of these right here. So either the bathroom or the bedroom door. Oh, hey, look, the bone's here too. Nice. If you find the bone, take a picture of it before picking it up, because that's another picture that's more valuable than most. The bone picture... Oh, I just turned a light switch off. That might have been the mayor's ability. Oh, we have another door touch over here. All right. So from the door being touched over here and the bottle on the floor, our ghost might be in the bathroom, it might be in the hallway, it could be in one of these other rooms too, because they can wander. But for now, I'm just going to throw my equipment down in the hallway. Did that ghost just turn the power off or the light off again? Okay, we might have a mare. Because the mare has the ability to flip a light switch off immediately after you turn it on. Honestly, I hate this ghost so much. This is my least favorite ghost in the game. So that's going to be really funny if we have a mare. But for now, just because I know, you know, this seems like mare ability, I'm going to circle it. Keep in mind other ghosts have the ability to do that too. So it can happen just by pure coincidence. Whereas the mare, it's an actual ability. Other ghosts, it can be coincidental. They just happen to turn the light off. Okay, but since we know that that ghost touched that light switch and some of the doors around here, we're going to go check it with ultraviolet. I don't see any on this light switch. I don't see any on these doors over here. All right. So that does fall in line with the mare because the mare does not have ultraviolet. So since I checked 2 things and didn't have ultraviolet, I'm pretty sure it's not Nobake, so I'm just going to mark ultraviolet off. But if I'm having trouble getting my third piece of evidence, I may continue to check. Okay. Now, even though whenever I go back to the truck, I like to throw my equipment down, I like to throw my flashlight down, but I always keep my camera on me until I'm done with pictures. Because you never know when the ghost is going to appear, and then you're like, oh, I don't have my camera. So I can't tell you how many ghost pictures I missed because I don't have a camera. Okay. So, our sanity is already dropped to 84%. Usually once my sanity starts getting around 70%, I will take meds. But if you're really nervous about those early hunters, like the demon hunting at 70, or an unaged Thea hunting at 75, I wouldn't blame you if you took some meds at 80%. So I'm going to go and take that. When you take it, it'll get thrown on the ground. You can't pick it back up, so you know it's not used, but your sanity will slowly refill. Okay, so I think I threw... Oh, I saw my thermometer. Okay. Well, in that case, we need to use the thermometer to figure out exactly where the ghost room is. Like I said, I thought it might be the bathroom, but it could easily be one of these other rooms around here. So I'm going to check the temperature in the hallway. It looks like it's going up. Okay, let's try the bathroom. Oh, yeah, look at that. We can see our breath in here. The breath means that the temperature in the room is 5 degrees. Okay. That right there was a singing event, and also the ghost manifested in full form rather than shadow or spectral form. We could see her just standing in the bathtub right there, and she was singing Ring Around the Rosie. What a little creep. But yeah, it looks like our bathroom is the ghost room. Our temperature's dropping on the thermo. Oh, hey, so if the ghost ever touches a door or a light switch, you can take a picture of that for an interaction photo. And the way that you know that you can still take an interaction photo is if your EMF meter's still going off. Whenever it touches anything like that, it'll emit the EMF signal for 20 seconds afterwards, and that is your window to take the picture. But it is a little tricky around here because, like, unless you're standing right next to that door and you hear the ghost touch it, like, if I'm over here and I hear a door get touched, well, I don't know if it was this one or that one. You could pull them all the way shut. That's a good way to know if the ghost has touched your door or not. But since I heard that one, I went ahead and I took a picture of it. And I'm going to check it for ultraviolet one more time. Okay. I'm 100% sure now we're not going to get ultraviolet. But let me put my ghost writing book in here, and we're going to go get some more equipment. But yeah, another tip, too, for getting ghost pictures is I always like to keep my camera on the next item button. So if the ghost does appear, like for me, it's on my mouse wheel. If you're playing on console, I'm not sure what it is you use to switch to the next item. But if the ghost appears for me, I just have to flip my mouse wheel up and then boom, camera. Easy ghost pick. All right, so we're still getting all of our evidence gathering equipment in. We haven't started messing with this stuff yet over here. But since we have the ghost writing book in there, I'm going to go ahead and grab a video camera and one of our DOTS projectors. So, oh yeah, I forgot we have tripods now. You can use your secondary use button to put the video camera on the tripod, and it just makes it a lot easier to place it. You know, without tripods, you have to, like, awkwardly balance cameras on tables and stuff, but tripods, you can just put them anywhere you want. Despite that, though, I do like to still take the camera off the tripod to look for ghost orbs. Like that right there. We have a ghost orb again. Okay. I was hoping it'd give me a variety of evidence for these videos, but hopefully we don't just get the same thing over and over. Oh, I think we got another door touch right there. I'm going to take a picture of that. Okay, yep, we got another 3-star interaction photo. But the reason why I like to take the video camera off the tripod to look for orbs is look at the screen here, the size of it. Now look at the screen on the tripod. Look at how much smaller it is on the tripod. But grabbing the video camera lets you hold it closer to your face. Okay, our ghost just turned the shower on. If you ever take a picture of a shower interaction, take a picture of the handle. Don't take a picture of the shower head. Alright, this is a very active ghost. Let's see if we have freezing. Not yet. It can be a little harder to get freezing in tiny rooms like this because if the ghost is wandering out a lot, it's going to take a lot longer to drop the temperature of this room. Because the way temperatures work in this game, the ghost is actively dropping the temperature of whatever room it's in. So if it's standing in the bathroom temperature's coming down. However, if it steps out in the hallway, then it's going to start dropping the hallway temperature. And meanwhile, the bathroom temperature is going to start going up a little bit until it returns to the bathroom. Then it will continue dropping the bathroom temperatures, and then the hallway will get warmer. So sometimes you can even tell, this is a lot easier to see on an insta-read thermometer like a tier 2 or tier 3, but sometimes you'll notice that the rooms adjacent to the ghost room are cold, but not as cold as the ghost room, and not as warm as the rooms, you know, beyond that. And the reason for that is because the ghost is wandering out of the ghost room a lot, dropping the temperature of this room, but not as cold as the ghost room. Okay, so let's see. Let's get our DOTS projector. This is an awkward room to use the tier 1 DOTS projector in. So I'm just going to shove it in the corner and hope for the best. But this is a case where having multiple DOTS projectors really comes in handy, because if you can't get good coverage with one, like some rooms you can get coverage just fine with one, but other rooms have like weird angles, weird corners, and you're going to want 2 to set up. Like, I guess another option too is you could just hold it. But who wants to do that? I don't. Where do I want to put this? You know, if you don't have a lot of room in the room, you could also put it, like, you could also aim it at the door of the room, because the ghost could wander out of the room in DOTS form. Okay, let's check that thermometer again. Still 5 degrees Celsius. Interesting. If it is a mare, what kind of evidence are we dealing with? We have Spirit Box, Ghost Orb, and Ghost Writing. Okay, well, it hasn't written for us yet. The pencil's still there. And otherwise, oh, I thought I saw the book start to move. When the ghost does write in the book, it'll actually levitate off the ground. And it's a pretty cool animation when you see it. Alright, so the only thing that I have left here is Spirit Box. And at this point, too, we can start thinking, well, what do we want to do for the rest of these pictures? We already got a ghost picture. We already got a bone picture. If we find the cursed possession, we can take a picture of that. But then that still leaves 3 more pictures. We could wait for the ghost to touch, you know, doors, light switches, or we could take matters into our own hands. This is where salt comes in. Salt is great for filling out your journal. So normally oh, look at that. We got ghost writing while we were out of the room. So we're going to put 2 piles of salt right here. I like to stack the salt because if the ghost steps in the stacked pile, I could actually take 2 pictures of it. But the ghost wrote in the book for us. So that's something that we can take a picture of. Okay, we got ghost writing there. Sounds like it touched this door again. We got an interaction right there, and we have 2 pictures left. But let me turn the light off here. Let me turn this light off as well. Are you here? Are you near? Are you far? Are you young? Are you... Ooh, we got Spirit Box. Did you see how the light that's normally red on the right, it blinked white and we got that creepy voice? Let's get it again. Are you friendly? Where are you? Are you here? Are you young? Are you old? Can't understand what it's saying on the tier 1. As you go up in Spirit Box tier, it will get easier to understand what they're saying. It doesn't matter what they're saying, honestly, but it is interesting sometimes to hear the things. But that is our 3rd piece of evidence, right? Yeah, we got Ghost Writing, Spirit Box, and Ghost Orb. It is a mare, so that means when I turn that light switch on and it flipped it off, that was the mare actually doing its ability and not random happenstance. Now, mares are stinkers because, like I said, if they're in a room and the light is off, such as the ghost room, they are able to hunt at 60% sanity. Right now we're at 80, so we're pretty darn safe from a mare. And you may be tempted to turn the light on to make it so the mare can't hunt until 40%. But the problem with that is the mare likes to wander out of rooms. Like if you turn the light on in the ghost room, it likes to wander out of the lit room and it'll go to the nearest dark room. So I usually just keep the lights off if it's a mare in the ghost room just to keep them stay put, you know? But this is where crucifixes come in. Honestly, you might want to get the crucifixes down a little earlier than I have. Like maybe as soon as you find the ghost room, just to be safe. Because if you do get caught unaware by a hunt, this could save your life. So, crucifixes work like the ghost writing book. You hold down your secondary use key, and then you can see this big cylinder around you. You know, it even kind of goes up the wall there. If the ghost tries to hunt anywhere in this circle, this crucifix will burn, and it will stop the ghost from hunting. Now, this is only a single use. So if the ghost uses up both of these, then, well, we're in danger. But I'm going to put 1 in there, and I'm going to put 1 kind of out in the hallway, just for some extra coverage. But yeah, as far as the crucifixes go, it doesn't matter if you put them down this way. This is just good if you want to know what it's covering. I mean, you could just throw them on the ground like that if you want to. You could hold it in your hand if you want to. As long as the ghost hunts within range of this thing, it will stop it from hunting. Unless it's a hunt initiated by a cursed possession. We'll get into that later. I know I keep saying that about cursed possessions, but we'll get into that later. Okay, so our sanity's looking pretty good right now, 86%. We still need to repel it while it's chasing, so we do need it to hunt, and we do need to find a way to get our sanity down really low, so hopefully we'll have a good cursed possession for that. Otherwise, I haven't really gone over a lot of these other items yet. I explained them, but I didn't really show them off, so let's grab a motion sensor. I'll show you what it looks like when the ghost walks through it. Now, the tier 2 motion sensor is even better because it actually makes sound while you're standing there. The tier 1, it goes off if anything moves through it. but you can't hear it unless you're like out in the truck. So I'm gonna put one here, I'm gonna put one there. And if the ghost moves through here, like that right there. So we saw her go through that one and then that one. So she was out of the room. Oh, now she walked back out. But she hasn't come this way yet. So maybe she just stepped out, or maybe she went to that room over there. We don't know. If we had more motion sensors, we could find out. But great way to track where the ghost is going. Okay, so we got our crucifixes down. We need 2 more pictures. Okay. I'm going to use the salt for one of those. But then I'm also going to take a picture of our cursed possession. Trying to think about what I want here. Since we are going to make the ghost hunt, I do want a stick of incense. Now, you do need an igniter to use your stick of incense. If you don't have a box of matches or a lighter or anything, and you go to use this thing, it's not going to do anything. But if you do have a box of matches in your pocket and you use this, it'll burn. And basically, if the ghost gets anywhere near you while this thing is burning, it will blind it for 5 seconds. It'll confuse it while it's hunting, and it'll allow you to run straight through it. But it does burn very quickly, so you gotta wait until the ghost is somewhat close to you. But I'll be using one of those for the repel the ghost with incense while it's chasing somebody objective. We're going to show that off later. But yeah, I want one of those just in case our ghost decides to hunt a little early on me. So let's see. We got our box of matches. Normally you can only hold 3 items, but the box of matches is a free item, so we can get the box of matches, say a flashlight, and a camera, and then a stick of incense. And then we have 4 items here. But let's go look for our cursed possession. And along the way, actually, before we do that, I'm going to show you where all the hiding is on Tanglewood. I showed you a few of them, but we're going to go over all of them right now. The boys' bedroom here. This is a closet you can hide in. The closet by the nursery, if there's not boxes in it, you can hide in this. This is one of those cases where the hiding spot is randomly closed off because we're playing in a higher difficulty. Behind the crib here, if there's not a bunch of boxes blocking this, there will be a box like on the edge of the crib that you can hide behind. This right here isn't an official hiding spot. You can try to hide in here in a pinch, but it's not the best. I wouldn't recommend this one. Okay, moving on over here, we have this closet in the hallway. I'm not a big fan of this one because, you know, this is like on the main pathway through the house. The ghost is going to be walking back and forth past here a lot. And as the ghost is walking down the hallways while you're hunting, it can try to pull the doors open. If that happens, just pull the door right back shut. You might be safe, but yeah, watch out for that. Okay, next hiding spot, I think I already covered. It's going to be the lockers in the garage here. This is another one that you get inside of and just pull the door shut. And then we have the basement plywood, which is another one that I already covered. This is kind of like the crib where you just kind of get in there. You crouch down and you wait. And another place that can kind of be used in a pinch, I've never actually used this, but I think it works, is you could just kind of try to scoot on over here. As long as the ghost doesn't walk to this end of the dining room, it's not going to see you hiding back here. But this one here is not an official hiding spot, so it'll never be closed, but it's also not as safe as the others. But okay, I have not... Oh, we have the monkey paw. Okay. This one isn't the best. This one isn't the best for making the ghost hunt, but it is great for dropping your sanity below 25% because there's a combination of 2 wishes that you can use on this thing that'll get you there. But the basics of the monkey paw are you ask wishes via voice or text, and it'll do what you ask, but there's always a drawback. So for example, if you say, I wish for sanity, it will set your sanity to 50%. It's good for dropping sanity. It's good for getting a little bit of extra sanity. But it just sets it straight to 50%. And the drawback of that is it makes the ghost change rooms. So after that, you're probably going to be in hunt range if you have a 50% hunter or a higher hunter, but you're not going to know where the ghost is coming from. So you got to stay on your toes. You can change the weather. Normally I change to sunrise, but we already have sunrise, so... and changing the weather drops your sanity by 25%. You can wish to see the ghost, which will make the ghost event where it's standing, but then it immediately hunts and your vision goes dark. That's pretty scary. You can actually use this to bring your friends back to life in multiplayer. So if they're dead, you can say, I wish for life. That'll bring your friend back, but it has a 50% chance of killing you. So you gotta be really careful with the monkey paw. It has some dangerous effects. But this is going to be great for our remaining 2 objectives. So I'm going to wish for sanity, which is going to get me to 50%. Then I'm going to change the weather, which is going to drop me by 25%, getting me to 25%. And then we're going to be in hunt range for the ghost. So we're going to be able to repel the ghost. And shoot. I'm kind of sad that this closet isn't open right here because this is a great example of explaining how to avoid the ghost. So we're just going to do, you know, some thought role play here. Say that the ghost is hunting from over there and coming at us. We would wait until it gets to maybe right about there. We would cleanse it. And then while the ghost is blind, you want to try to break line of sight. Even though the ghost can't see you, you want to try to get as far away as you can before it can see you again during that 5 seconds when it's blind. So we would cleanse the ghost, we would run around the corner and then scoot into this closet. Or we would run to the nursery and get back here. Or we would run down this way. Now, normally I like to use corners to get away from the ghost like this. Even if the ghost is chasing you, if you can turn a corner and then maybe turn another corner, you might be safe. It might not, like, because once you go around that corner, it doesn't know where you are until it rounds the corner and sees you again. But considering our hiding spots and that we don't know where the ghost is coming from, I think we could use this closet here. This one's not too bad. We could use the boys' closet, we could use the plywood in the basement, or we could use the lockers in the garage. So let me make sure I have all my pictures. No, I don't. Hang on. What did I do with my camera? Yeah, let me go get a picture of one of those pieces of salt. Oh, and you may notice me crouching a lot. A lot of people ask, hey, why do Phasmophobia players crouch so much? It's because, one, it makes it a lot easier to grab your equipment because it's all over the floor. But two, if you're trying to escape the ghost, you want to be crouching when the hunt begins. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense to be running from a crouch position, but if you're running away from the ghost and you scoot behind this kitchen island, for example, it can't see you while you're back here. It may walk over here, but then you can just kind of go around and, you know, get away another way. Or if you're hiding behind the crib over there, you want to be crouched back there because otherwise if the ghost walks in the room, it's just going to see us standing up behind it. But okay, enough messing around. Let's get our monkey paw wish made and get ready to escape the ghost. So, like I said, we're going to wish for sanity. Oh, ma'am. Okay, that right there was a fake hunt event. It's where the ghost just kind of immediately appears, starts moving, chases after you, runs into you, and drains your sanity. They're probably the closest thing this game has to jump scares. And, very easy to mistake for a real hunt. If you're holding a stick of incense, you might panic use it. But I will try to show you. I will try to show you what a real hunt looks like. So, I wish for sanity. That sets us to 50. I wish for fog. Okay, that drops us by 25. So now if we look in the journal... Oh, yeah, there we go. Our average sanity is at 25%, so now we're just waiting for her to hunt. And what that's going to look like is we're going to hear the ghost start making noise, the lights are going to start flickering, and then a couple of seconds after that, she's going to start moving. That period where the ghost is invisible and just making noise is called the grace period. And, oh, that's an airball right there. That's another kind of ghost event. Oh, not starting. She's in the living room. We can hear her singing over there. Yep. So did you hear how she started singing? Okay, we're going to cleanse her and run to the plywood in the basement. Did you hear how she started singing for a bit and we couldn't see her and then she started moving? And once she was moving, she started flickering. That is a hunt. But yeah, basically hunts are when the ghost starts moving around the house. Oop, and the lights turned off. The lights turning off are how you know that the hunt is over. Every single light in the house will turn off. Just turn the light switches back on. But since we cleansed her, she's not going to be able to hunt for another minute and 30 seconds from the moment that we got her with the incense. So we can go back in there and we can get ready for another. Right now, this is done. I picked up my bone, I completed my objectives, I got all my 3-star pictures, and we got our ghost. But I'm going to go back in there to try to show you, you know, again, what a hunt looks like beginning. But yeah, so that grace period where she's just singing and invisible, and that's your cue to be like, oh no, the ghost is hunting, I'm going to run. And the higher your difficulty, the shorter the grace period is. You know, I'm going to say she's in the living room. That's where she started hunting from. She's knocking all kinds of pictures off the wall. That's funny. Here, this time, where do I want to go this time? I could go for this hallway here. I could go for the boys' bedroom. Yeah, I think I'm going to use this closet right here. Well, we'll see how it goes. Come on. It's like I know I cleansed you, but come on. Okay. But yeah, other important things about when the ghost is hunting, like I said earlier, do not have any electronics in your hand. Like, if we had this flashlight on, you know, like this, even if it's not actively in our hand, if it's just on, she's going to be able to know where I am. So, ditch the flashlights. That's a fake hunt. Oh, that's spectral form right there. I'll let her get me. But yeah, that's the spectral form. Ghost can event in shadow form, full form. Oh, hunt is starting. She's like right in front of us. There she is. So we're going to cleanse her again. We light our incense, and we can just run right through her and go to our locker in the garage. Now, in this case, the light's off in the garage, so we can't use that to tell when the hunt is over, so we just got to listen. Okay, we don't hear her anymore. One way that you can tell if the hunt is over or not is you can try to flip a light switch. You cannot flip light switches while the ghost is hunting. That's a really handy tactic for bigger maps. Because if the ghost gets more than 20 meters away from you, you can't hear it anymore, so that's sometimes the only way that you can know that the ghost is hunting. But yeah, it's really funny to me playing on this difficulty because the hunts feel so short. That's another thing too, is the higher you get up in difficulty, the longer the hunts will be. So if you're playing on amateur, the hunts are going to be even shorter than they are now. So I just want to wait for one more hunt to happen. Just to give you a third example of what a hunt looks like as it begins. But another thing too, you know how she's singing when she hunts, like the wah, wah, wah. When a ghost, the sound that a ghost makes during a hunt is always going to be the same throughout an investigation. So every time she hunts, she's always going to be making that singing. Oh, that's a red light event. That's cool. So she was in spectral form doing a red light event. It doesn't mean anything special. It's just a really cool thing that happens sometimes. All the lights in the room will turn red. It's a pretty rare form of ghost event. And it's one of the few where the lights don't turn off at the start of a ghost event. Normally, lights turn off at the start of a ghost event. Sometimes they'll even slam doors at the start of a ghost event. Hunts, on the other hand, the lights will never turn off at the beginning. They'll flicker, but they won't turn off. And there is another type of ghost event called a broken light event, where the lights will... Oh, that's a fake hunt again. She was in shadow form, so we couldn't see her at all. But yeah, did you see how the lights turned off? That's how I knew that it was a ghost event and not a hunt. The lights turned off, she started moving immediately. I knew I was safe. You can't die during a ghost event. You can only die during a hunt. And I feel pretty safe standing in the ghost room right now because we do have a... Oh, hey, let's open the front door too. Because the front door will slam when a hunt begins. Oop. Where's she at? She's right there, I think. So see, flickering lights, we hear the singing, now she's coming at us. We're going to hide in the closet this time. Hopefully she doesn't open the door and kill me. Okay, she went down the hallway that way. She's coming back down this way. Okay, we got lucky. She didn't open the door. But if she did, we could, you know, they'll just pop open the door slightly. You can just grab it and yank it back shut. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of what it looks like when a ghost starts hunting, and how to get away. You've probably heard a lot about ghost looping. That is something that you can start to try as, you know, as you get more comfortable in the game. But I would say that baby model that we had there, did you see how she was crawling around a lot? And before that, we had another crawling ghost model known as Patient 7. Don't try to loop crawlers. It doesn't go well. But if I can, in the next investigation, I'll try to get into looping. It's a little bit more of an advanced technique, one that I wouldn't really recommend for survival purposes, because if you want to survive, I would say the best thing to do is what I was doing there. Cleanse the ghost, run to hiding, and wait for the hunt to end. That is your best chance of survival in the beginning. All right, so let's get back to the garage, lobby, warehouse, whatever you want to call it. Hey, there's our perfect investigation. Like I said, to get a perfect investigation bonus, it gives you an extra... Actually, I'm not sure how much it gives you, but it is multiplied. It is multiplied by your reward bonus here. So the higher your difficulty multiplier, the more of a perfect investigation bonus you're going to have. But yeah, once again, to get that, you have to get the ghost type correct. You have to do all 3 of your optional objectives here. You have to fully fill up your photo journal with 3-star pictures, and then you have to pick the bone up, and then you'll get that perfect bonus. Oh, we also got our daily for reaching 0 sanity. So for this one, for getting a perfect on intermediate, we got 905. Because remember, 50 that's from the daily reaching 0 sanity task. So that's a little better. That's a little better than the 400 something we got before. But this time, I'm going to be doing professional difficulty. But yes, so the ghost room can change, no setup time, a shorter hunt grace period, a longer hunt duration, sanity pills restore less sanity, the fuse box starts off, and we have a lot fewer hiding places than we did in intermediate. So let's hit apply, let's select our Tanglewood drive map, and I said I was going to use tier 2 equipment for this one. So let me make sure that we're on all tier 2 here. I guess I should probably buy the tier 2 headgear just to show you what it looks like. So this is what happens when you buy something in the store. It pops up here, you can look at the statistics, and then on your quick loadout screen, now you can flip on over to your tier 2 headgear. I'm going to fully load the truck. I'm going to enable my loadout, so now we can see that all of our tier 2 stuff is in the truck over here. Except for the sound sensors, I'm not going to use those, so I'm not going to bother upgrading them. Yeah, let's get in. So for this one, I'm just going to show you what the tier 2 equipment looks like. I will try to do some ghost looping. Maybe I'll deal a little more with cursed possessions, but otherwise, professional, it's not too different from intermediate, I feel. Like, if you're comfortable jumping up to intermediate, you might be fine in professional, but you'll see that we don't have any sort of setup timer, so that means if we have a ghost that meets hunt conditions, like maybe a demon using its early hunt ability, the ghost is going to hunt. So that means you're probably going to want to get your crucifixes down early. But we do have snowy weather this time. Like I was saying earlier, if it is snowing, we're going to have ambient temperatures of 5 degrees Celsius. We're going to see cold breath everywhere until we get that breaker on. See, there's our breath coming out right there. But once again, for this one, I'm going to be starting with our flashlight. This is the tier 2 flashlight. You can see a little better. I'm going to be using the tier 2 EMF meter. This one's a lot easier to read than the tier 1 because it just has the different colored lights there. And then our tier 2 camera, which takes pictures a lot faster and with a lot better clarity. Okay, so our ghost is Lori Young. Because we're on professional, it doesn't tell us who it responds to. So once you're on professional and above, it's just best to have one person go in the room with the spirit box. But we have parabolic microphone, firelight, and cleanse the ghost with incense. Great. Okay, I'm really glad that it gave me a different set of objectives here, because that would have been a bummer if I just had the same ones. So I'm glad I can show you a different set. But the great thing is, because we don't have a startup timer, it doesn't matter when you open this door. So you're not on the clock. You can just, you know, it sounds weird because I want to say you can take your time because, oh, hey, look, a spine right off the bat. Okay, so we're going to take a picture of that and then pick it up. Cool, there's our bone picture. I forgot to look where the power was. Oh, look at that. That mannequin's not supposed to be there. Interesting. So where did it come from? It came from over there. That mannequin's normally supposed to be there. So an interesting way that you can use to find the ghost room sometimes is by... Oh, hey, look, we got EMF 5 already. But yeah, that's what EMF 5 looks like on the tier 2. The lights go all the way up to orange, and it makes a unique sound. And we got a picture of that rocking chair interaction. So the EMF stopped because that was the end of our 20-second period. But yeah, okay, back to this mannequin here. The ghosts can actually interact with the mannequins if they're nearby them, and they can teleport them all over the house. So it may teleport this one again somewhere else because it's still in the basement. But if you ever see a mannequin out of place and you've gotten to the point where you know where the mannequins are on each map, you can kind of guess where the ghost room is. So yeah, I looked over there, no mannequin there. That means our ghost is in the basement. On Tanglewood, the only other mannequin is over here in the garage. Right over there by the trash can. And while I'm here, okay, we don't have the voodoo doll. The voodoo doll would spawn on this trash can here. We don't have the monkey paw again. Okay. And we don't have the summoning circle. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, it slapped a cooler. You hear that? Hear that cooler slapping? This is one of the few places, or maybe only places in the basement that the ghost can leave ultraviolet. So I'm going to run to the truck and see if it left us any ultraviolet on the cooler. But yeah, I'm really glad the ghost did that. Because you never know, you know, when you're doing just like kind of a let's play style guide where you're just kind of playing through the game, you're kind of limited in what you can show off by what happens while you're playing. You know, the other option is you could do more of a scripted guide where you try to get footage of every single possible thing that you could want to do, but like, oh, that takes forever. Okay. Oh, hey, look at that right there. We got ultraviolet. It's not showing up very well, but we do have ultraviolet fingerprints. So we can take a picture, like, these you have to charge up. If I pull it away, it's going to fade. After a bit. See how it faded? In order to get a picture of it, you have to hold your ultraviolet light on it for a little bit to charge it up, and then you can take the picture. So yeah, we got a fingerprint picture. Let's go ahead. Nope, that's freezing. Let's mark our ultraviolet. And then I think I have a thermometer. Yeah, let's check the temps in here. We already see our breath, so that means this room is 5 degrees Celsius or less already. And we have 1.5. Not freezing yet. Okay, so remember how I was talking about how it's really hard to get freezing in small rooms like the bathroom? In big rooms like this, where the ghost isn't wandering out a lot, it's a lot easier to get freezing. But if you have a ghost that doesn't have freezing as evidence, it cannot drop the temperatures below 1 degree. So if you see this thermometer go to 0.9 Celsius, that does mean that you have a freezing evidence ghost. If you're playing in Fahrenheit, I think that magic number is 33.8 Fahrenheit. But yeah, so far it doesn't look like we have freezing, so that makes me feel pretty comfortable because that means we probably don't have a demon. A demon would be freezing, ultraviolet, and ghost riding. But so far all we have is the ultraviolet. Okay, and another good thing to do is check your hiding spots early. So we don't have that closet. Oh, we have the music box again. Okay, great. I'll show you how to use the music box later. We don't have the nursery. Let's see if we have the boys' bedroom. We do have the boys' bedroom. Okay. Boys' bedroom is pretty safe to hide in because the ghost doesn't walk in there a lot. The only reason why I get a little nervous using it is because that's a big sight line all the way to the living room. The ghost could easily walk over there in the living room and see you scooting into the closet. So if you're going to run into that room over there, you got to make sure that the ghost is, you know, not going to walk around the corner and see you doing that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a ghostwriting book and the video camera. We're also going to take a look at our sanity while we're in here. 95, that's pretty good. We barely lost any sanity at all. And that's why it's important to stay in the lights so much. Because other ways that you can lose sanity are the ghost venting on you. You know, fake hunts will do it. Air balls will do it. Certain other ghost events like the exploding light bulb event will do it. So you want to try to do everything you can to not lose sanity. Because the last thing you want is the ghost to do a little surprise hunt on you. So I'm going to put my ghostwriting book down on the floor. What did you do? Oh, it threw something. Okay, there's what an EMF 3 looks like on this. Yeah, it threw something. I'm in the dark, so I can't even tell. But as soon as I figure out where I put my camera, we're going to check for orbs. Okay. We might not have... Oh, is that EMF 5? Oh, that's right. We got EMF 5 earlier. I totally forgot about that. So we have a Myling, an Obake, a Goryo, and a Jin. Ooh, Jin are a little dangerous because they do have a 25% sanity drain ability. If you're just hanging out in the room with them, or you're otherwise within 3 meters of them, they can just sap your sanity by 25% like that. And the only way that you would ever know it is if you had an EMF meter up on the breaker box. Let me get the light on and I'll show you how to do that. Because when the Jin uses its sanity drain ability, it will cause EMF to emit from the breaker box. So we're going to put that there and see if we have a Jin. I should probably bring in an extra EMF meter to check for other things. Because, like I said, even if you've already got an EMF 5, having an EMF is great to know what you can take pictures of and if the picture-taking window is still open for that 20 seconds. But for now, checking sanity again, 88%, not bad. If it is a Jin, it hasn't drained us yet. Okay, so let's do the dots projectors yet. These are the tier 2 dots projectors. Rather than like a big narrow beam like the tier 1, it kind of casts dots in sort of a half sphere around it. You can stick them to floors. Oh, by the way, it threw our book. That's what it did the EMF 5 on. So since it threw the book, we can mark ghostwriting off. So that means it's not a, what was it, Myling? Okay, it's not going to be a Myling. We have an Obake, a Goryo, or a Jin. But yeah, you can stick these to the floor. They make a big circle of dots. You can stick them to the wall. You can stick them to the ceiling if you want to. Oh, that's an air ball right there. Okay. Oh, it hit me. I was trying to get away from it. So yeah, once again, like all other ghost events, except for the red light and the busted light event, when it does an airball, the lights will turn off. Now, if it does turn the lights off from a ghost event, you're not going to get EMF from the light switch, and you're not going to be able to take a picture of that light switch. You're also not going to be able to get ultraviolet from that light switch. So be very careful taking pictures of light switches unless you're absolutely sure that a ghost event did not turn those light switches off. But anyway, yeah, you can stick these to the wall. You can stick them to the ceiling if you want to. I don't think I would do that because they don't have the range to get to the ground. But you can use these in interesting ways to get like more dots coverage on the room. Let me grab that right there. Okay, so we got pretty decent coverage here. Maybe it'd even be better. You know, part of the challenge of using the dots projectors is trying to figure out like the correct placement to cover as much of the room as possible. Because when the ghost does do dots, like, it'll only do it if it's in the range of one of these. Alright, so what do we have left? Freezing would be a Jin. Okay, we haven't seen freezing yet. Dots would be the Goryo. And there's something very interesting about the Goryo and dots that I'll get into in just a moment. And orbs would be an Obake. Okay, so that means we're not looking for Spirit Box. We can just cross that right out. But if I had to take a guess, based on the fact that we haven't seen orbs down here and we haven't seen freezing, I would guess we're dealing with a Goryo, just by process of elimination. Let me look for orbs one more time. Let's get the lights off. Yeah, I would prefer it not be a Goryo because you can only see their dots through a video camera. And on top of that, they will not do dots if anybody is in the room with them. So even if I were standing here holding this video camera, we wouldn't see Goryo dots. We have to put our camera on the tripod and we have to go watch from the truck. Dots are already hard enough to get for evidence, and trying to get them from a Goryo is even worse. So let me check our objectives again. We need parabolic microphone, firelight, and cleanse with incense. Cool. So we don't even need to make the ghost hunt for this one, but we are going to make it hunt just so I can try to show you looping. All right, we're looking for Lori Young again. I hope we don't have patient 7 or the baby, because like I said, they can crawl and that is very hard for looping. If we do, I think I will do a separate looping tutorial later in the video. Just because, if it's a crawler, I don't like my odds. Alright, our sanity has gotten down to about 70. Our all of these ghosts here hunt at 50, but you could still take your meds if you want to, once you get down to 70. Okay. What do I want to put down there now? Well, first things first, we should look for... Oh! Literally, as soon as I turned the monitor on, I saw dots. All right. Okay. So that does mean we have a Goryo. But let's see if we can get it to do that again. It would be a lot easier if I had the lights off. So I'm going to turn the night vision off just so we can kind of see the green outline there. Oh, yeah, we kind of saw it along the bottom of the screen. It looks like she's more in the half of the room where the... Oh, yeah. Oh, it's Patient 7 again, and she's crawling. Okay, in that case, I'm going to do the looping tutorial later in the video. I am not looping her. Okay, well, in that case, we can work on getting the rest of our pictures. We need 4 more pictures. We can use our salt for that, and that'll let me show off the tier 2 salt. But yeah, the tier 2 salt is a lot better than the tier 1 salt. It's like a big wide strip of salt, and you get 3 per container rather than 2 per container. So you could either put the salt, you know, like 1, 2, 3 like this, or you can stack it all up like I did before. I'm just going to put it this way because this is how most people do it. But the parabolic microphone, like the higher you go in tier, like the wider of an area it can detect sound from. But in general, for best oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, ma'am. For best practice on this, it's good to stand kind of far away from where the ghost is. Because if you stand far away from the ghost room, you're going to get more of it in like the cone of hearing for the parabolic. So you can either, for the basement, you can stand in that corner over there. You can like try to stand in this corner. And it's just a matter of waiting for the ghost to do it. The ghosts are always making paranormal sounds, but you can only pick them up with a parabolic microphone. Oh, okay. You can pick up other sounds too, like it's stepping in salt. Oh, hey, maybe I can show you the footprints. So yeah, she walked through that salt right there. She left a couple of footprints going this way. You can actually take pictures of these. That'll count as a footprint photo rather than a disturbed salt photo. You may sometimes see weekly tasks that say get 50 footprint photos. This is what it's asking for right here. Honestly, in my opinion, though, that's a big ask. It's, I think it only offers $500 for that, and getting 50 of those things, it's pretty rough. I usually skip that one. But we are still waiting. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go get my candle. Because we need to get it to blow out a firelight as well, and we can wait for it to blow the firelight while we wait for it to get parabolic. And aside from that, the final one here that we have to do, cleanse the area near the ghost with incense. That just means light incense near the ghost. It can be chilling in the room. It can be hunting you. It can be doing a ghost event. It doesn't matter. As long as you light incense near the ghost, you will get that objective. Conversely, you know, the one that we had last time where it said repel the ghost with incense, that one we had to do during a hunt. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my incense. We're going to grab a lighter, and yeah, I think we're almost done here. And then I think the final thing that I'm going to do is show you how to use the music box. It is going to be a little more dangerous in the basement, but we can use motion sensors to make it a little safer. Okay, here's a candle. Stepped in the salt here. Let's take a picture of that. And we have 1 picture left. I am going to save that for the ghost picture. Oh, and one thing that I should cover because I haven't messed up a picture yet is you see this trash can item up here? If you mess up a picture, if you get anything less than 3 stars, like if I'm just like, a ghost! Oh no, wait, that was a flypaper. Notice this doesn't have a label and there are no stars. That's a bad picture. You can click this trash can and then the check mark and it will delete a picture. You can delete up to 2 pictures per round. Use these to your advantage. Because you will get bad pictures sometimes. The photo system it's better than it has been, you know, since the game came out. But the photo system does have its quirks. It has its jank. And they are going to be overhauling it pretty soon in an upcoming update called Chronicle. That's going to add a new piece of equipment called the sound recorder, where we're going to be able to record EVPs to go in our journal, and we're even going to be able to record interactions with the video camera. So this photo tab is going to go away, and it's going to be replaced by a media tab for photos, recordings, and video. And on top of that, the star quality system is going to go away, because it's not really that hard to get a 3-star photo, and it's really frustrating if you get anything less than a 3-star. Like, you feel robbed if you get anything less than a 3-star. And instead it's going to prioritize unique photos, and it's going to give you less money for duplicate photos. Oh, apparently we got the parabolic microphone. I didn't even hear it. Some of the parabolic sounds are very quiet. So just check your journal periodically to see if you get it. But yeah, I don't know if I explained what the paranormal sound meant. The ghosts are always making them. They're those creepy little whispers that you hear on the paramic sometimes. It's just a matter of you have to be aiming your parabolic microphone at the ghost when it makes that sound to hear it. Okay. And it blew out our firelight as well. I did say I was going to show you how to take a picture of this thing. The ghost will blow this out. It does count as an interaction. It will emit EMF too. If it ever blows it out and your EMF meter's, you know, going off, just take a picture of it like that. But final thing that we're doing here is using the music box. The music box is actually my favorite cursed possession. It can force the ghost to do an event, allowing you to take a picture of it. When you start playing the music box, the ghost begins to sing. If you bring the music box within 5 meters of the ghost, it will appear and do that event, allowing you to get the picture, and then it will hunt. So if you are using the music box, I like to order my items a certain way. I like to have my lighter. I like to have a free hand above the lighter for the music box. I scroll up, I grab my camera, and then I scroll up and I grab my incense. Now, this is the tier 2 incense here. It blinds the ghost for 5 seconds like the tier 1 did, but it also slows the ghost in its tracks while it is hunting. But first things first, let's get these motion sensors down there so we can know where the ghost is before we turn the music box on. Because if we turn it on and the ghost is right on top of us, we're going to have a bad time. It's going to hunt way too quickly, and we might even die. Hey, look at that. It blew the candle out and gave us EMF 5. Candles are a great way to look for EMF 5 as well. Because I don't know if I ever explained it, but any interaction that gives a 2 or a 3 on the EMF meter, so throws or environmental interactions, or even some ghost abilities, can emit EMF 5. I believe it's a 25% chance. So like if it slapped that cooler, normally that would be an EMF 2, but it would have a 25% chance to instead be EMF 5. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you for slapping that cooler for me. All right, so now that we have our motion sensors down, we're going to put them even lower because she's crawling around here. Now that we have our motion sensors down, whenever we see the ghost walk through one of those, then we're going to know it's safe to turn the music box on because we're going to know that she's not right on top of us. Okay, so I'm grabbing my lighter again. I'm leaving a free hand for the music box. I'm grabbing my camera, and then I'm grabbing my incense. That's so we can use the music box, scroll up for the picture, scroll up for incense. You know, I feel like ordering your items like that in Phasmophobia, like thinking about the order of your items makes the gameplay so much smoother. All right. So here's the music box. She's... Oh, hello, ma'am. Click. Hey, I forgot where my hiding spots were. That's not good. We got the boys... Oh, we got the closet here. Okay. So if she comes on out of the basement, I'll show you how the incense slows her down. But yeah, once she gets that music box, she does a little event. So yeah, look how slow she is now. So we're going to run back here. We're going to close the door. That's going to block the line of sight if we close the door. She can't see through the door. They can walk through doors, but they cannot see through doors. And then we're just going to hide in our closet while we wait for the hunt to end. Now, the hunt is going to be a little longer because we're on professional rather than amateur intermediate. But you'll notice that because we lit the incense while she was hunting, we got to cleanse the area near the ghost using incense objective. We could have just lit that in the basement and we would have gotten that. But you could, if you're going to make the ghost hunt anyway, you might as well wait until the ghost is hunting to get that one. Creepy picture. All right, I think it's over. We're flipping our light switch. Yep, we can flip the light switch, so we're pretty much done here. We can get out of here. Once again, we picked up the bone. We got all of our objectives. We got all 3-star pictures. I like to check in the journal before I go, because that way if one ends up being 2 stars and I don't notice at the time, I can delete it and go get another. And yeah, we had a Goryo. We had an actually cooperative Goryo. Normally, they're pretty hard to get dots off of. Like, if I have, you know, if I have 2 evidence and I have a couple of ghosts left, and Goryo's one of them, and I'm not getting freezing, and I'm not seeing ghost orbs, and Dots is the only thing left that I haven't seen, it's usually a Goryo. But yeah, that was Laura Young. Let's get out of here. Okay, since I had crawling ghosts all 3 investigations, I'm going to go do a bonus video where I show you how to loop. And in fact, this is good too, because I can show you how to use customs to do bonus, or practice. This is good because I can show you how to use custom difficulty to practice looping. Custom difficulty you unlock at level 50. It's going to give you 3 customs that you can save. You can customize them however you want. I'm going to use this one right here. So you click your edit button and you can pick a preset. I'm going to go with professional because that's going to have the ghosts hunting longer. But you would set your sanity to 0. You would set your setup timer to like 30 seconds or a minute. Let's do 30. I don't need that much time. And you would also come over here to player, and you would set it so you don't lose items. This is going to make it so you get no money, you know, whatever you do, you're not going to get any money from this, because this is just for practice, and we're going to be practice looping the ghost. So I'm going to get the tier 1 incense, just because that is going to make it so the ghost goes normal speed. You could use tier 2 if you want to practice, you know, doing it with a slower ghost, but I like using the tier 1. Because once you get up into nightmare difficulty or insanity difficulty, stuff like that, you sometimes have to rely on the ghost speed during hunting to know what they are. But let's go back to Tanglewood Drive. Actually, you know what? No. I changed my mind. Let's go ahead and set the setup timer to 60. That'll give me time to explain how to do it before the ghost starts hunting. Okay, ready up, start. Okay, so we have our 1-minute setup timer there. We're going to grab our lighter. I'm going to grab a flashlight. And I'm going to grab a stick of incense. And hopefully we don't have one that's a pain to loop. But we're looking for Tim Brooks. We don't care about any of that. We're just here for practice. Now, I probably should have set it so the power was on. Because you do want the power to be on if you're going to be looping the ghost. You want to be able to see that ghost. In the dark, it's a little too tough sometimes. Alright, so we're going to rush in, we're going to get to the basement, and we're going to turn the power on. And we're going to be using this kitchen island right here for looping. And basically the idea is, if you have ever played a video game, like a first-person shooter where you've had to circle strafe, that's basically what looping is going to be. Let's get this light on too. So, first things first, get rid of your electronics. You don't want that. Oh, cool, the ghost is in here, so this is gonna get spicy. So yeah, you want to be crouching behind this thing, and you want to try to keep the ghost on the opposite side of you at all times. Try to keep your mouse trained on the ghost, and just go in a circle around this thing, and you can like tap your sprint button if you need to get a little more room. But we're looking for Tim Brooks. Our ghost is a male, which means that he's always going to be standing up. Male ghosts cannot be crawlers, thankfully. And out of the female ghosts, there's only 2 models out of the 4 that can be. So we're just waiting for this ghost to start hunting. And I always say have a stick of incense as an emergency. Ooh, I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's in the kitchen or the dining room. I believe Professional has a 3-second grace period, so that should be enough to let us... Oh, here we go. So we got the butcher. Yeah, he's coming around here. We're just keeping our eyes on him. As long as you're right up against this, he can't see you. And basically, yeah, just try to keep him on the other side. I'm even going to draw him over here with my walkie-talkie. I haven't even had to use my sprint yet. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I wouldn't recommend doing this arbitrarily. This is only if you're in an absolute pinch, like the ghost starts hunting by surprise, you don't know where the hiding is, but you hear him over there and the kitchen's over there and you're like, uh-oh, okay, this is the only thing that I can do to live. Like normally for beginner players, I would recommend getting to hiding, you know, cleanse the ghost, get to hiding. Or even better, don't let the ghost hunt at all. So that's another good example there of a grace period and a hunt start. We could hear him on the other side of the kitchen island. The lights were flickering, but he wasn't moving yet. And now that he is moving around, he's flickering. We're going to call him back in here with the walkie-talkie. Because the walkie-talkie does count as an electronic the ghost can hear. Come on, dude. I'm too good at this. He keeps losing me. Now, if I do stand up, he can see me. Oh, hey, did I ever explain line of sight speed? I don't think I did. I think I should. If the ghost can see you during a hunt, they are actively speeding up. For every second they see you, they get a little faster. So that is why you want to be ducking. That is why you want to use your incense and escape. You do not want the ghost to have eyes on you during a hunt. And he turned the power off. Now, you may not be able to flip light switches while the ghost is hunting, but you can turn the power on and off while it is. Well, hey, we know it's not a Djinn. Djinns won't turn the power off at the breaker box. They can blow the lights like you or I can. Oh, okay. Now, I'm going to let him speed up. And I'm going to show you why you want to crouch. As he's getting faster. Generally, I don't recommend doing this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We gotta bail. We gotta bail. We gotta use our incense. He's getting too fast. He's getting too fast. Ooh, thankfully he ran in the garage. But yeah, there are people who can loop the ghost fully standing up. People like Hydrasong and Cooper's Charms. I've seen them do it a lot. I'm not one of those people. I think I got caught on the trash can. But yeah, usually I recommend doing the safe crouch style looping. Standing up and looping it. It's like, it's a cool party trick, but it is not that great for survival. But all right, let's get back to the lobby. And I'll tell you about cursed possessions. I already told you about a few of them already, but I will cover the others. I can show you them to you in my display case. Oh, it was a demon. That's scary. But yeah, as you use cursed possessions and collect bones, you'll fill out your display cases over here. This one here is for the holiday trophies. This is every holiday trophy that's ever been released in the game. And then if you can complete the Apocalypse Challenge, you get these shiny skull trophies here. It looks like me, but less shiny. Okay, but yeah, you can look at all the cursed possessions. Here's the music box, which I already told you about. Here's the monkey paw, which I already demonstrated. The tarot deck's an interesting one. You have a deck of 10 cards, and every card you pull is going to be randomized, and these all have different effects. If your card turns into the Fool, it doesn't do anything. The Wheel of Fortune can either flash red or green. Red lowers your sanity by 25%. Green raises your sanity by 25%. The Tower increases ghost activity for a little bit. The Devil causes a ghost event, which can be useful if you have a witness a ghost event objective. Death immediately makes the ghost start hunting. The Hermit traps the ghost in its room for a little bit. The Moon drops your sanity to 0. The Sun raises your sanity to 100. If you pull the High Priestess, this sort of acts as an extra life card. If anybody on your team is dead, it will immediately resurrect them, and if nobody's dead, the first person to die will immediately come back to life. And the Hanged Man, you only have a 1% chance of pulling this card, but if you do, it kills the person who pulled the card instantly. People fear that card. The Haunted Mirror is probably one of the safest cursed possessions to use. When you use it, you pull it up to your face and you will see a glimpse of the ghost's favorite room. Now, when you use it, it does drain, I think, around 20% sanity right off the bat. And if you continue looking into it, it will continue draining sanity. And if your sanity hits 0 while you're using this thing, it'll break and cause a cursed hunt. More on that in a minute. Over here, we have the candles from the Summoning Circle. If you light all 5 of these candles, it will cause the ghost to do an event followed by a hunt. You have to be careful, though, because each one of these candles drains 16% sanity, and you need to have more than 80 before you start lighting this thing. Otherwise, when you get down to the last candle, either 1, it's not going to light because you don't have enough sanity to do it, or 2, you will light it, but the ghost will immediately start hunting and grab you. You don't want that. So yeah, if you're going to light the summoning circle, make sure you have, I'd say, at least 85% sanity, just for a 5% buffer. The voodoo doll is a fun one. This one here is pretty safe too. When you use it, you randomly push one of these pins in. If it's one of these pins out here, anything other than the heart pin, it will cause the ghost to interact with something, as well as draining 5% sanity from you. If you push the heart pin, though, it immediately causes a cursed hunt. It also drains 10% sanity. The Ouija board's a fun one because you can use it to ask information, such as you can find out where the ghost currently is by saying, "Where are you?" or "What is your favorite room?" Keep in mind that even if you say, "What is your favorite room?" it doesn't tell you what the ghost's favorite room is. It just tells you where the ghost currently is. It's a little misleading. You can ask where the bone is, and you can ask other interesting questions like, "How old are you? How did you die?" You know, fun flavor text type stuff. Be very careful with the Ouija board, though, because asking where the ghost is drains 50% sanity right off the bat, getting you almost assuredly into hunt range. Asking where the bone is drains 20%, and the rest drain, you know, they're pretty low, like 5 to 15%. And one thing that I did forget to mention is that while you're playing the music box, you are actively losing sanity. It doesn't drain much if you use it to get a ghost picture. If you do want to use it to drain sanity, I would say just go off to a corner of the house and just listen to it. You know, that's good for the 25% sanity objective. And if you do drop this thing while it's playing, instead of placing it on the floor, like if you accidentally throw it rather than place it with the secondary use key, it will break and it will immediately hunt. This thing's probably the closest Phasmophobia has to a hand grenade. Now, I think there's one more thing that I want to talk about, which is challenge mode. On your weekly tasks, you can see it right down there at the bottom. Currently it says complete challenge mode in 10 Ridgeview Court. Challenge mode is something that resets weekly. You may hear people call it the weekly challenge. I upload videos of me doing the weekly challenge every Monday if you want to see that. But it's something that you can select over here from the difficulty. Challenge mode right there. And every week there's something different. There's like 6 months worth of them, and they like rotate every 6 months. But if you can correctly identify the ghost 3 times, you get $5,000/5,000 XP. Challenge mode is great though, because it provides all the equipment for you. You don't need to put anything in the truck, and if you die, you don't lose any money, you don't lose any equipment. It's pretty darn safe to try. The trade-off, though, is that sometimes they're really hard. On the other hand, sometimes they're really easy. Like, if you ever see one called Speedrun, at the time of recording, that's next week's. Speedrun is super-duper easy. It's like the easiest challenge in there. It's an unchallenge because it makes you run really fast, and it gives you all the cursed possessions to play with, so that's a really good one to do. But yeah, I would always recommend give it a try, you know, even if you're not sure. You may find that it's easier than you think, and it's also a safe way to explore maps that you might not normally play on, and it's also a fun way to play with equipment that you may not have unlocked yet. So yeah, I think that's it. Is that everything? I think I covered most of the basics. If you're just starting out, I would stick with smaller maps like Tanglewood. Willow Street's another really good one. Edgefield and Ridgeview are good, but they have their quirks that you may not want to play as a newer player. But yeah, that's how to play Phasmophobia. Hopefully I covered everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm very active in responding to my YouTube comments, and I love explaining the mechanics for the game. But otherwise, if you want to see more Phasmophobia, you can subscribe to my channel. I get 3 videos out for this game a week. Like I said, the weekly challenge on Mondays, and then usually Wednesdays and Fridays are other investigations. Sometimes challenges, sometimes just normal investigations. And I also stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday over on Twitch at 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Universal Time, though I think that's changing soon with the time change, so just check my Twitch schedule. But yeah, I don't know how to end videos, so I'm just going to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful, and I'll catch you later. Bye.